Good evening, this is Dr. Battle, and we will be looking at the Old Testament world tonight or today, and we'll begin just giving you familiarity with the regions and the cities, major cities of the ancient Near Eastern world. Here's a typical map of the Near East, as we may call it today, or the Middle East, as we would call it, and this is where the events of the Bible occur. And as you look around, you'll see various things that are familiar. If you've been listening to the news these days, some of this stuff should be familiar to you. In Asia Minor, or up there at the top, we have Turkey, and that is the nation. That's where the nation of Turkey is located, right there in the northwest corner of the map. Now, further to the south, we have the country of Syria, which we were at this time of the making of this video, the U.S. is negotiating with the Assad regime to destroy their chemical weapons. Just further east of Syria, you have Iraq. That's the country where we rebuilt after conquering or defeating Saddam Hussein. And then to the east of that, you have Iran, where a nation that has been threatening to make nuclear weapons, and we currently have a lot of sanctions against trying to get them to give up their nuclear weapons program. To the south of Syria, there's the country of Jordan, and Jordan is a nation that is relatively peaceful and is a U.S. ally. And further south, you have Saudi Arabia, and that's where Mecca is located, which is the center of the Islamic world. And then to the west of Saudi Arabia and south of Turkey is Egypt, which is watered by the Nile River that runs out of Egypt into the Mediterranean, or out of Africa into the Mediterranean Sea. Just off the Mediterranean Sea, on its eastern shore, we have Lebanon, that is between the Mediterranean and Syria and that portion of the world. And then south of Lebanon, we have the country of Israel today. But these are the major nations of this part of the world, and ones that you should be familiar with if you listen to the news on a regular basis. Now, when it comes time to taking the test, this is what you'll see when it comes to the city test. You'll get a map that looks like this with these various dots, and you'll need to be able to name what each one of those dots represent, and each of those dots represents a city. Here is a map that gives you the listing of the names of the cities that are associated with these. Now, I'm not too sure what happened last time, but in the past I used a highlighter to highlight it, but somehow it interferes with the recording. But if you see in Egypt, you see the cities of Thebes and Memphis. Thebes was the capital of Upper Egypt, and Memphis was the capital of Lower Egypt. And then just north of Memphis, you have the country of Zon, and Zon was was one of the towns where the Israelites lived in when they lived in the area of Goshen, which was part of Egypt. To the right of Zon, you see Jerusalem, which is the capital of Israel, and to the north of that, you see Tyre and Damascus. Tyre being the capital of Lebanon, or one of the capitals of Lebanon. Today, I think it's called Beirut. And then you have the capital of Syria called Damascus. North of Damascus, you have Carchemish, and Carchemish is a very important city in the ancient Near East. Many important battles occurred there. To the north of Carchemish, you have Haran, which is where Abraham and Terah, his father, settled before coming to the Promised Land. To the east of Haran, you'll see Nineveh, which was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, which destroyed the northern kingdom of Israel. And then further south, you see Babylon, and that is where Nebuchadnezzar was from, and they're the ones who destroyed destroyed Judah. And then to the south of Babylon, you have the city of Ur, which is one of the two possible, or the most likely location that Abraham and his father had lived in before they moved north to Haran. And then to the northeast of there, you have Susa, which was the capital of the Persian Empire. And at the very top of the map, you have Hattusa, which is the capital of the Hittite Empire. But just kind of familiarize yourself with those things so that you can identify their locations. Now here's the map, what the regions will look like, the map which tests you on the regions. And you see the various regions there. And you can also download this from Blackboard. But in addition to that, there's another map that gives you the actual names. And you kind of see there, and we'll kind of follow the same basic pattern we did in the other one. In the bottom left corner, which would be the southwest corner of this map, you see the Nile River. And as you know, the Nile River goes through the country of Egypt, which you see there. And part of the country of Egypt that's called Goshen is where the Israelites were settled while they were in the land of Egypt. Now, to the north of Goshen, you have the Mediterranean Sea, and to the north of that, you have Asia Minor, or where the Hittites were from. Now, if you go back down to Egypt and you look to the east of Egypt, you see the Sinai Peninsula, and that is where the Mount Sinai is located. To the north of Sinai Peninsula, you see Canaan and Israel. And to the north of that, you see Phoenicia, which is where modern Lebanon is located. To the east of Phoenicia, you have Syria or Aram, a really ancient country. And then south of that, you have Ammon, and further south, Moab, where the Deuteronomy is given. And then south of that, you have Eden, which is a country that was founded by Esau. And then you see the Red Sea. The Red Sea, as you see, has the two bunny ears. To the bottom, in the bottom center of the map, you see the Arabian Desert, which we also know is part of Saudi Arabia. And then further to the east, you have the Persian Gulf, and above that, you have the country of Persia, where we know Iran is. Now, to the west of Persia, you see the Tigris River and the Euphrates rivers, and that is part of the Fertile Crescent. And then you have Mesopotamia, which is the land between the rivers. And then a section of Mesopotamia is called Padan Aram, which is where Haran is located, and that is where Abraham had settled before moving to the Promised Land. This time, just take your time and study these maps and be ready to see them on the various quizzes. Download them and just test yourself on it, and so that you can do well on both the map quizzes and in the reviews as they show up. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.